You a module I created for a novel. I think modules are fantastic for organizing your entire unit for any novel that you are reading. This is a unit that I do in my class called The Lemonade War, based on the novel. We also incorporate some economic standards along with this module. This module allows me to have everything I need for this unit all in one place, as well as for my students. One of the things about modules is that you can collect everything here that you need, including your own unit plans. If you don't want the students to see these plans, you do not have to publish it. But for you, it's here and it's in the space and in the point in the module that you want it to be. I have a few of those types of things throughout my module that I want for my purposes, but I don't necessarily need the students to see. I just simply unpublish those. Now, you'll notice that this is quite a long module. This is for an entire novel, and it includes everything that we will be doing and using throughout the book. I try to break it up so that students are able to see easily what we're doing. You can do this by using the indent tabs. When I begin a unit, up a novel unit, I like to make sure that I organize my module with title headings. These title headings help me to stay organized and for my students to be able to find things throughout the book. Sometimes it's not always easy for them to scroll all the way through in a large one such as this. But I do think the importance of putting everything for the novel together in one location is ideal. I set up a novel unit chronologically by chapters. I always have an introduction, and I really like to include a book trailer or some attention-getting device to grab the students' attention and get them wanting to read the book. Here, I put in a book trailer that the students can watch to get an idea of what the book's going to be about. In this place, I just included the movie as an external URL. I will use this unit to guide the students through the novel. The novel is for language arts as well as social studies, teaching economics. The students will reference the module, but I will use the module to teach from as well. I always include a beginning of activating prior knowledge. In this unit, that is actually a bigger section than maybe most usually. In this case, I want to get the students involved in understanding the economic concepts that we're going to be studying. One way I like to activate students' knowledge is by using a website called Padlet. So here, because I would be putting this up on my smartboard, the students would use their iPads to scan the QR code and access the site. This is included in the module because it will be an easy way for me to pull this up as we're talking about it. Now, I also like to include talking about vocabulary. In this case, there is a different vocabulary word at the beginning of each chapter. These are important economics terms that the students need to know. So to review the vocabulary throughout the chapter, the students are going to create their own presentation. They are going to be given the choice to use Prezi, Keynote, or Explain Everything. Choice is so important. In this case, at this point in time, I have already introduced the kids to Keynote and Explain Everything. But I have many students that like to try new things and would be excited about trying Prezi. Giving students these options makes it more fun for the students, but also challenges them as well. One of the things that I really like about assignments in Canvas is that you can include a rubric from the very beginning. This way, the students can look at what's being graded, and it makes grading for you extremely easy when they have turned in their assignments. Students can look at the rubrics when they are given back to them and see all feedback that you've given them. An assignment is different from a quiz. I prefer to use quizzes for more essay-type questions or multiple choice and true-false. A project such as vocabulary project that needs to be uploaded is much better used as an assignment. I also really enjoy including discussions in my novel units. Here we're discussing one of the themes of the story. One of the themes is the idea of sibling rivalry. So in this case, to start the story, to activate their prior knowledge, the students are going to respond to a discussion on the discussion board. What is also great about this discussion board is that you can make these assignments graded. They are all posted on the discussion board for students to see, but they show up in your speed grader with an availability for you to grade that is very easy. No more searching through a discussion board to find each student. You can set up a discussion to allow students to look at other students and like them, or for them to be unable to see other students. In this case, my students were able to look at each other's so they could read what other situations their fellow classmates have been involved in. And for those students that don't have a sibling, this gave them insight. I like to do discussions as quick checks, and it really helps to give students that don't have a voice in your class a voice. Now, I tend to set up my novel units by chapters. Every one or two chapters, we will do some sort of activity or assignment based on what's in the lesson. Chapter 2 of The Lemonade War talks about productive resources, and the characters in the book are beginning to set up a lemonade stand. So here, I've included the assignment that is going to teach them about productive resources. I have created a video of my own using EduCreations. That's a quick 2-minute lesson. The reason I included my own video is because that I wanted it to precisely tell the students in the terms that we were using, in the context that we were talking about. The students would be able to then watch the video either within the page or by going to the external website. See the video that I created using EduCreations. I have the video loaded right in using external URL. This could be used as a flipped lesson for the students. They could watch this prior to coming into the classroom, where you could then go on to talk about creating a production model. We will then have the students create a production model. In this case, they're going to be given the choice to use the app Poplet or Canvas. Again, choice is important. I always like to give my students examples, but as we all know, they will try to steal yours. So I created an assignment for them, but I created an example of a production model that was about baking, and I included that example in the module. So that if students were struggling, they could look at that example. Here is the assignment for the production model. Everything is written out, including the example that we are going to talk about together, baking cookies, so that the students see what I'm asking them to do, but they then have to apply it to a lemonade stand. Again, there is a rubric so students know what I'm expecting of them. I will try to include an assignment like this every couple of chapters. Chapter 3 talks about advertising. So I have created a video for my students using Explain Everything that goes through the steps of creating a successful advertisement. I will expect students to watch this video before class so that while we're learning about creating our own advertisement for one of the characters' lemonade stands, we already know about the different steps to create a successful advertisement. Along with this, I've also included a link to a website for other outside practice creating an ad. Along with assignments, I also use a quiz feature here. Obviously, if we're doing a novel, we need to be able to ask the students questions, whether it be essay or true or false. This is a good time to use the quiz feature. In my quiz, I can ask the students questions about the novel, and they can answer them within the quiz. I can include essay questions for them to answer as well as multiple choice. This can be done in the app or this can be done online. I also like to set up near the end of a unit of a novel extension projects. We know that we always will have those students that will finish the novel before other students. I hate to hold them back when they're excited about reading a book. So I try to put some extension projects at the end of a unit so that if kids finish ahead of time, there are activities for them to do. If the students that are reading the novel notice these extension activities near the end, many times they get excited for them and can look forward to them. In this case, there are more quizzes, assignments throughout the entire module. I include PDFs for the students to access, including a quiz that is their final test, links to interactive games such as the lemonade stand, and I also try to, at least once in a novel, include a page that has the students do some sort of tweeting. And this is something that you can just include right in your module so that when they're finished with the chapter, the next thing they can do is this activity. Creating modules allows you to put all of your resources, your plans, your videos, your links, your PDFs, everything you want for a unit or a lesson in one place. So it's easy for you to access while you're teaching, and it's easy for your students to come back to. I'm going to show you an example of a math module that I created for a 2 to 3 day lesson in my classroom. This module is about finding volume with unit cubes. If you look in the menu section of your modules, this place allows you to notice each part of your module. This is important for your organization and for your students. I like to be able to label things clearly that my students can come to this page on their app and access different aspects of the module. It's not always the best idea for them to scroll through the entire module. So I like to make sure that I organize this in a way that it's easy for students to access what they're looking for. I'm going to go through this module and show you how I have set it up, including content and digital content and assignments. The starting page of any module that I create has an introduction. It introduces the students to the topic or to the unit of study. Here, I'm letting the students know that we're taking a look at volume, and I include a video from Khan Academy. All the students have to do is click this button right here, and it will take them to the video. This way, they can access this video on their own, or I can show this video to the whole group. Either way, it is still in the module for the students to access at any time while you're discussing this skill. You'll notice that online, you have a next tab. On the app, you do not. So students would have to go and click one down on the menu in their module. After the introduction comes the instruction. This instruction is going to include a PowerPoint, so I let the students know that we're going to take a look at a PowerPoint. Even though this is set up independently for the students, I would use this module to guide me through my class instruction. Then the students would have it to go back to for support. So on the next page would be the PDF of the PowerPoint that I'm going to use in class. I can either scroll through it right here, or I can download and open the PowerPoint. I would use this for my instruction. I've also included a video to reinforce the skill one more time. This video is from YouTube, and since I would be guiding them through the instruction, I put the video right into the page. I did this by adding an external URL. So if you notice, there were two different ways that I included a video. Here, the video fills up the whole screen. On the one before, I included the video on a page. And when you include a video on a page, the video will show up as a small box like this that you then click to have a bigger version of the video. How you choose to add a video to a module is up to you and to the type of instruction you're doing with your kids. So here's a time where I might not want to scroll through the whole module using my next button. So this is a time where I might just have the students and myself click the modules so I can go to the menu and click on the next part, which is Activity 1. Activities are important in a module to give students ways of practicing the skill. Here, I am linking the students to an external website that's going to allow them to practice finding the volume using unit cubes. This is not an assignment. This would be something that you would have your students do in class for a small amount of time, and then they can revisit later outside of school for extra practice. So again, the instructions are on the page. I would guide them to open the website. It would then take them to the site with the task that I want them to perform. And they would be able to practice volume. And again, they would have this available to them at any time. Continuing on in the module, Activity 2 is another way I want the students to practice. This is going to get them ready for the assignment that they're going to be graded on. Activity 2 involves them finding something in the classroom, taking a picture of it, and then finding the volume. This is going to allow them to use many different apps and to app smash. They have the choice of just using Notability or of another app that they think they might be able to use in order to use a picture and write on top of the picture. I really like to give my students choices in their assignments and activities. Everybody has something that works well for them, and so I like to give students that opportunity. So once the students have done this, we would move on to an assignment. Here, this is set up as an assignment, not as a quiz. A quiz is used for more things like multiple choice questions or true or false. Here, the students are going to do what they just did, except 5 different times. And now they're going to create an Explain Everything video showing and explaining how they calculated the volume. So now we're able to take things a step further. This assignment is going to be set up in Canvas and will allow the students to upload a video right into Canvas. I can use the rubric button to add a rubric to make grading extremely easy and giving feedback to students easy as well. Finally, in the module, I will have some sort of an extension. An extension would be for those students that move ahead, students that are able to master the skills sooner, or if you want to push your students and need a little extra. This might be something that not every student in your class does. Here is a good place that you can put your extension at the end of your module, but again, labeling it so students would know that it might not be something that is required. So this is an example of a module that I would use over 2 to 3 days in my math class. It would be given to the students so they would have access to it. They would have access to it to go back to watch videos, do practice activities, and get more information on how to do the skill.